Today we are going to be doing a performance test on the MSI Thin 15 B13VE gaming laptop. And this is a budget gaming laptop with a 13th gen Core i5. My model has 32 gigs of RAM and an RTX 4050 laptop GPU. I also have a 1TB NVMe and then a 1TB SATA SSD for storage. And this is my main laptop right now. I've been using it for like 2 or 3 days now. It is pretty nice. I got this thing for a whopping $275, and I was able to get it for that cheap because somebody returned this laptop to Amazon because it had a ding in the box, and they returned it back to Amazon. Then Amazon sold it to my local retailer. Then my local retailer sold it to me as untested, and I got myself this brand new MSI Thin 15 gaming laptop. And this thing is pretty cool. The battery's not that big, so it doesn't last that long. But if I really do know that I'm gonna need battery life, I have my ThinkPad X1 Carbon right there. And I also have my M2 MacBook Pro. I'd probably use my M2 MacBook Pro if I need a battery life. But yeah, this is a really nice laptop. And my ThinkPad X1 Carbon's on Windows 10. I would put it on 11, but I'm lazy, and I'm mainly using this MSI laptop. So long story short, I'm too lazy to put the X1 Carbon back onto Windows 11 because, yeah, I just don't feel like it. So yeah, enough of me yapping. Let's get right into these performance tests. Let's play B&G Drive on ultra settings. Well, look at those temps. We'll be keeping track of them as we play. B&G Drive at ultra settings is playing perfectly fine in the most intensive map, running at 60 to sometimes even 80 FPS depending where you are in the map. And let's say you're in a lighter map, you can get easily 100 FPS on ultra settings. And honestly, I don't have to play on ultra settings, but when I can, I will. And you see our FPS is only going up. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You're probably only getting good FPS because you're plugged in. So let's unplug the charger. When unplugging the charger, we're still getting about 30 to 40 FPS. And this is on ultra settings. And honestly, you don't have to play on ultra settings. So if you put this down to like high, you'll easily get 60 FPS while on battery. Let's do a temp check. You see, our temps are still low, so that's good. And of course, Fortnite decides to release the world's biggest update right as I was gonna do a performance test, so this is gonna take a while to finish. Alright, Fortnite is finished now, so we're just gonna go and launch it, and let's see how this runs. Alright, we're in the lobby, everything, it's running good, 120 FPS. Let's take out the charger, see what happens to our FPS. We're still at about 100 FPS, 80 FPS. So let's just plug this back in, and let's launch a solo Blitz Royale game to get a feel on how this laptop plays. Fortnite, the dying game, the dying franchise, the one and only Fortnite. Alright, we are in the battle bus at a solid 144 FPS. So now we're landing 142 FPS, 122. See, I'm not going to actually play because I can't really play while holding my camera. But now let's remove the charger. Let's give her a second to marinate. And I do not notice a visual difference. I really do not notice a visual difference. And I'm being entirely honest. I do not notice a visual difference. Now let's plug her back in, and so we're going from 120 to 140. So yeah, it's a really small difference. Now let me get out of this game before I die, and yeah, that would not be good. Long story short, the laptop has amazing performance, whether you're on battery or if you're plugged in. And honestly, it does not even make that much of a difference in battery life when you're playing games and not playing games, because the battery is going to drain on a gaming laptop extremely quickly no matter what. So there's not really like anything to really stop battery drain on gaming laptops. But if I'm being entirely honest, battery is not really that bad on gaming laptops. Of course, it's going to be better on a normal laptop because it doesn't have the powerful hardware. And these manufacturers, they don't put very big batteries inside these gaming laptops. They just put normal size batteries, except sometimes like Alienware and Framework, Main Gear, they also put really big 100 watt-hour batteries into their laptops. But these other companies, in the end, they're still just normal laptops, but just with a lot of power. So I would not really like use this as like a laptop for traveling unless I'm gonna always be by a charger. And for traveling, I'd probably choose my MacBook Pro and maybe my X1 Carbon. I'm not sure though, because MacBooks have amazing battery life, and the X1 Carbon has pretty good battery life, but nothing can beat a macOS battery life. macOS battery life is really, really good. Nothing can top macOS battery life. I cannot express how good macOS battery life is. I'm just over here playing with my speaker, because no one's home, so I can put it as loud as I want. Alright, it's been about 2 days since I last recorded anything footage with this laptop, and now it's time for the battery drain test. I was gonna do the battery drain test in a separate video, but this video is really short, so we're gonna do the battery drain test in this video. So this is kind of like an all-in-one review now. So let us take a look at our battery capacity using a very useful app called Battery Percentage Icon, which it's a Windows 11 only application. And here we have it. We're currently at 96% current charge. The battery's idle because it won't charge past like mid-90s. Unless you force it to, you have to turn on rapid charge for it to charge over that. So yeah, this is the stats of the battery. Design capacity, 51 watt-hours. So yeah, and another reason why it won't go over this is because technically the full charge capacity is higher than the design capacity, so it isn't going to hit that, of course, because, yeah. So I'm going to do a variety of tests. First, it's going to be 30 minutes of watching a 4K YouTube video. So I'll put on one of those like 4K landscape 24/7 live streams. I'll leave it for 30 minutes. Then we'll check on our battery. Then we're going to play some games. Maybe run a virtual machine, except virtual machines run like crap on here because of P&E cores. The VM, it runs on the E cores, which are a lot slower than the P cores, because P cores are performance cores and the E cores are efficiency cores. And because of the way that Windows has them laid out, I'll show you the way Windows has them laid out. So these are the E cores, these are the P cores. This CPU has 8 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores. So the way that it has it laid out is most virtual machine platforms will run off of the ones on the bottom, but in the new architecture with 13th gen and everything, the E cores are on the bottom. So they run on the E cores. The E cores skyrocket to 100% usage because they're made for efficiency and not for performance, because the efficiency cores are more for like battery life and stuff. And yeah, the battery test already started. I just have to open up YouTube now. Alright, you see our playback is set to 4K. I'm going to leave this now for roughly 30 minutes, a little less than 30 minutes. I'm gonna stop it at 4 o'clock. It's currently 3:38, so she's got, what, like 22 minutes? So Yep, let's see. I mean, it's running flawlessly. This is just mainly for the battery, not really a performance test anymore. Okay, it's been a bit more than 30 minutes now. It's like 4:05 now, so yeah. Because I'm working on a bunch of other videos at the same time, so yeah, that's great. So now currently our battery percentage is at 72%, and honestly, that's not terrible, because at this rate, we could last like 4 or 5 hours on YouTube playing a 4K video. And that was no sound. But if you're playing at 1080p with some sound, you're probably going to get similar results. Now we're going to sit in B&G Drive. I can't actually play right now because I'm working on another video, but I'm going to launch the game. I'll launch into a map. I'll get MSI Afterburner so we can track our FPS. And yeah, I'll let it sit for about like... I'm not going to let it sit for the same amount of time as YouTube, because I'm sure if I let it sit for 30 minutes, that would make our battery test cut short. But yeah, I'll leave it sitting for like 20 minutes. I'll record and work on some more of the other video that I'm working on. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have a nice time. So yeah, launch and enjoy B&G Drive. Yeah, B&G is complaining about power not being connected, but yeah, FPS is still fine. Well, a little drop there, but it's fine. And our battery is already at 68. So yeah, I'll come back at 4:30, and we'll see how this is going. Alright, we are looking at some crazy visuals right now. So I'll leave this for about 15 minutes. We'll check on the battery percentage, and that'll cut our test off, and that would end us about an hour and a half. And that's not bad if you're doing a mixture of gaming and video watching. But if you're just doing normal productivity work, it won't even use the RTX 4050. It'll use the integrated graphics until it has to do something that requires the RTX 4050. So that's pretty good. But yeah, I'll leave this until like 4:50-ish, and then I'll come back. We'll cut the test off, and that'll end us about an hour 40 minutes, which for a gaming laptop, 30 minutes playing games. And we just hit 30%, so battery saver turned on, but I'm going to turn off battery saver, because having battery saver on while playing games, that's a big no-no. 4:51 p.m. we're going to conclude the battery test at 10%, so expect roughly about 4 hours if you're doing regular productivity work and just watching videos, and about an hour and a half to 2 hours if you're playing games. Thank you guys for watching, and until the next one, and thank you for not finding any viruses, Windows Defender. What's that laptop doing?